Where I am now, better than before. Through those open doors, where I am now. Where I am now, I'm in a special place. I'll tell you what the place. Where I am now. It's now time for the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. The music that you hear in the background is none other than Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, where I am now. Where I am now. And if you'd like to see us live in WGPL 1350 Studio, WMVA 88.9 FM Studio, all you have to do is go to Edward Everett's Facebook page, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton's Facebook page, and guess what? You can see us live right here in the studio. And if you want to hear us all over the globe, all you have to do is go to 1350 AM, 1400 AM, click and listen live. And now I want to introduce to some and present to others the host of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, and a pleasant good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. E. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
TGIF, would you, could you, will you be my neighbor?
Let's welcome our neighbors, our WGPL 1350 AM listeners.
Peace, 95.3 FM, WMVA 88.9 FM, and WGPL 1350 AM.
Facebook Live is on and popping. Let's also welcome Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. We'll shout you out later on in the show.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. Go to Crystal Records 1 on YouTube and FYI Radio Show host Yolanda Hinton. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we promise right now, today, on Fun Friday, we'll shout you out.
Shout out.
Mr. E, it is Fun Friday.
It is Fun Friday. It is a long weekend, too. It's for some, the children go back to school on Tuesday. And yeah, we gave you all the great public safety information that need to be. So when the children go back on Tuesday, you be ready for the children. But it's a great weekend.
Absolutely.
It's the end of Labor Day weekend.
A lot of people are traveling, a lot of people going out of town, a lot of people getting kids ready, going shopping, making sure they have all the nice things on the first day. How was the first day for you? I love being able to have new clothes, and it was just a thrill of just going back, seeing friends, and sometimes you get anxiety because especially if you're starting a new school. But how did you enjoy first days?
Well, first day of school was great for me because I got an opportunity to, like you said, to visit my new friends and old friends, and if I was starting in a new school, the suspense would get me because I'm so busy thinking like what it's going to be like. Absolutely. When I get there. And when I get there, and after thinking so hard and worrying so hard, I found out it won't be like I thought it was.
Why did you worry? Because most kids, a lot of kids, they say have anxiety, they just of the fear of the unknown. And, so what is it about the first day of school that brings that on?
Well, when you go to a school, I was used to being in one school. Now I'm changing schools and meeting new friends and going to an integrated school and going to a school that you never been up them big steps, flight of steps like they had. It was brand new. And when you go into a new school, you're saying to yourself, What do I need to do? How am I going to make it through the changing of school
Yes.
bells? And am I going to be late for class? Am I going to be lost? So these are some of the things that's going on in our children's minds or in my mind at the time. How will I get around the school and be in class on time?
Sometimes it's, am I going to do well in school? Am I going to like the teacher? Will the teacher like me? Will I have any problems? So many things go in a mind of a child that makes a little bit nervous at times, but then they do adjust, they adapt, and some of them kind of really love it.
That's right. And after you adjust and adapt to it, you become a professional student. Then you're a professional student. At the beginning,
Yes.
you're just a beginning student. You're not professional because you don't know yet how the school will operate. And then the next year, when you go to that same school, then you become a professional.
Absolutely. Well, this Fun Friday, again, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Good morning, Sheila Robbins. Thank you for joining us on our Fun Friday segment. The weather here in Hampton Roads pretty decent.
That's right. That's right.
We're going to enjoy some 85, 80 degree weather, and we're just glad about it. But we're here in the land of the living. We thank God for his goodness and mercy and grace, giving us another day to do things different and better.
That's right.
And so this is our What's in Your Closet segment featuring Who's in Your Ear. Let me say that you laugh. I want folks to hear this. Who's in your ear? We're going to be talking about advice, good and bad advice. We got some tips to avoid bad advice. Mr. E, what kind of inspired this segment? I was looking at a series, still looking at it. It's the longest series in the whole wide world. I'll tell you that right now. And it's called The Queen. And it is very interesting. It's entertaining. It's drama, so much drama. But I noticed one thing about this series. Everybody's always trying to give advice. Most of the advice is the worst advice in the whole wide world. I have never in my life seen so many people and so many giving so much bad advice and in everybody's business. It is crazy. And so, that kind of inspired this. Who's in your ear? Who's telling you what? Whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it is, any kind of advice about work or, who's in your ear and who is telling you things that is steering you in a good way or either in a bad direction.
Miss Cynthia, when you decide who's in your ear, and that series that you're looking at, I happened to have an opportunity last night to peek at it. But it was one of the craziest movies you ever want to see, because my recollection, when I looked at it, all the information was given to the pilot, the son. When the son, everybody wants to tell the son and mama. It was just crazy.
It was crazy. I mean, all the bad advice in the whole wide world.
The whole wide world. Yeah.
It was just, it's really crazy. It's a long series, and if you get a chance, go check out The Queen on Prime. But you will see what I'm saying. Who's in your ear? Who's telling you stuff? Who's giving you advice? And why are you taking bad advice?
Just in case you want to know where the film was made at, it was in Madrid, Johannesburg.
Yes.
It's in Johannesburg, and the actors are, from Johannesburg. And it's a setting of that nature, but it was just is crazy.
Anyway, what is advice, Mr. E?
Advice is a recommendation regarding a decision or course of conduct. Information or notice given, and an official notice concerning a business transaction or payment. That is advice.
Yes. Guidance is the active process of guiding, the direction provided by a guide. And you can't not being able to do something without a guidance. Advice on vocational or educational problem to students, the process of controlling the course of mechanism, guidance, like I said, advice, things that you may want to know. A lot of times people give you advice and it's not solicited. It's like,
That's right.
well, I didn't ask you for it, but you got everybody got an opinion, but not just opinion we're talking about today. We're talking about advice that leads you somewhere, to lead you to an action. And you got to be careful because some advice, even though it comes from well-meaning folk,
That's right.
relatives, and what else, can lead you down the wrong direction.
Another word you want to throw in there also, Miss Hinton, is that recommendation. Those three words tie in there together because all three of those words bounce back on advice.
I can think about it on our post. If you all have seen our post, there's a man sitting there and he has two things going on. He has the devil in his ear, and he has an angel
That's right.
in
That's
his
right.
ear. And it is amazing because that's what happened to man. Adam and Eve decided they would go ahead and instead of getting that fruit, getting the, just getting the things that God has allotted them, they decided to take something that God
Bad
said,
advice.
don't do. He said, first of all, don't eat that tree. Don't eat that fruit on that tree. And once they did, their imagination and mind, everything opened up to good and evil.
That's right.
And that's why we are under that, I call it that thing where it's always a fight and a battle within the mind because you get advice from that lower dark.
That's right.
And then
That's
you
right.
get it
That
from
good.
the good, the good. And so we have to balance our lives with good advice and good assets in order to get above that bad advice because that thing is constantly going to be there.
That's a
as
war.
as a human being, it's a constant thing of good and evil. The Bible says, I think Paul said it, he said, when I would do good, evil is sitting there just yakking and yakking.
That's right.
And so for that reason, we have to be careful who's in our ear. It could be the wrong force.
And Miss Hinton, when you say that, it makes you second guess who you are. When you listen to advice from, the good and evil or from good people that you may know, it make you second guess what your conscience is telling you what to do. What you know is right to do, you get advice from other folks and information from other folks or recommendation from other folks or guidance from other folks that sometimes when you don't listen to what you're saying, what you're listening to, you take the wrong advice, you take the wrong guidance and your wrong recommendation and cause you to go down the wrong street.
Well, let's look a little bit deeper at the scenario and the conversation. All right. Don't eat this fruit. It's not good for you. It will bring awareness of good and evil. You don't need to know evil. You should be just here in this garden doing what you do and living the best of life. But it was a dialogue with Miss Eve, Sister Eve. And Sister Eve is sitting there talking to the devil.
Evil.
Now, God already told her. He already told him, now listen to me. I've created you, and I need you to know, don't mess with that.
That's right.
All right, here comes Mr. Devil. And Mr. Devil is sitting there, comes to Eve for some reason or another. But we'll talk about that at another time. And he says, wait a minute. What you mean you can't eat that? Why would you listen to God? Because guess what? When you eat that, you're going to be just like a God. You're going to know something that we all know. The devil know how God was because he was up there with them as an angel of, light, music, or whatever. And now, hey, now you're going to know what we all know. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
She was sitting up there entertaining all that foolery after Adam was told and given instruction and advice, don't eat that fruit.
That carries you to these 8 tips of do's and don'ts.
Yes.
When you look at that scenario, when you look at how God began to deal with Adam and Adam to be deal with Eve, and how the devil steps in. That takes you to these do's and don't. Don't do this and do this. Don't listen. Don't do that. So when you look at the tips that are given, that's the advice that is given unto Adam, which messes you up. In the do's, it says, listen more than you talk. Mm-hmm. Don't eat from the tree in the midst of in the garden, but do eat from any other tree that is out there. Do be patient. Mm-hmm. Say only positive things, or use only positive words. Absolutely. Be kind and compassionate. Hug them or hold their hands. Give them a safe space. These are do's. Do something you know that they enjoy or will have fun at. Do provide options, not solutions.
Absolutely. These are 8 tips on giving advice. The things that you need to do. We're talking about who's in your ear. And sometimes well-meaning folk can be in your ear with the wrong information. Not let alone, we're not talking about the devil right now, who gives the worst advice in all the world, wraps it up like it's, something sweet. Cool. We're talking about these relatives and friends and co-workers who, may mean well, but giving you the worst advice that you could ever have.
That's right. So that takes you back to the same point that you brought up to Miss Hinton, is when God told Adam, Adam told Eve, and now the third person, which is the devil, began to talk to her, and she began to rely on him to tell him. Sometimes when we're sitting there, just like on our posts, you see the good and evil sitting up there. And when you see the good and evil, it's making you make a choice to help you to make a decision on what you need to do. Now, there are some don'ts that you don't want to do. Don't never say negative things or use negative words like don't. Don't get impatient. Don't tell someone they shouldn't think a certain way. Don't tell someone to get over it or move on. Don't rush the healing process. Don't judge. Don't spam people with your words of wisdom. Don't impose your own opinion on other people. Don't do it.
Absolutely. Don't. That's right. When giving advice, that's right. Make sure you're giving advice and correct advice. Why? Right. Because that recipient, that other person, has to make decisions. And if you bring them wrong information and they don't have anything else in their head beside what you're saying, they could go down the wrong road. This is the thing, and this is the difference between that scenario and Adam and Eve. They knew better. They knew better. They had already got instructions. Now, I could see if God had never told them, Mr. Eve, that this would be detrimental to them if they eat that fruit. But guess what? They just push that good advice aside, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that, and they had something to really gauge, good and right and wrong, because God already told you, don't do this.
They heard that word don't.
But here, yes, don't. And but here comes that other force saying do, and people override it. That's another way people can go down the wrong road, when they override the truth.
That's
when
right.
They override something that's right for them.
That's right.
Well, don't do that. Don't pick that up. Don't touch the fire.
It's hot.
It's hot. Okay, I know you said don't touch it, it's hot.
That word don't.
But I'm going to touch it anyway, because why?
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you, and whatever you saying don't matter. It may be good advice, but I'm not going to take it.
They're in your ear. They're in your ear. You tell a child, said, listen, you see a fight, run the opposite way. Get away from it. They said, you told me don't. That word don't, D-O-N, apostrophe T, is a real powerful word. You tell somebody no, don't, no, don't, and that means yes, 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 into the ears of those who really getting that, getting it from someone that they could trust. If you tell somebody that, hey, I don't want you to, don't go underneath the ladder because it may cause the person a distraction to the person that's on the ladder. Well, you told me don't, so guess what I'm going to do? I don't believe that it's going to cause some distraction, so guess what? I'm going under the ladder.
Miss Lee, what about conversations? I'm gonna tell you what tickles me about a certain group of people, and that's men. Have you ever, well, you're a man. Have you all ever been in a cluster or a huddle or just a gathering, and you're talking to someone about somebody's significant other? Oh, I got a girlfriend. Oh, I'm in love, and oh, she's so wonderful and beautiful. All of a sudden, here come all advice on
Don't.
every guy in the whole wide world, because of his bad experience
That's
or
right.
because of his good experience, he's going to advise you whether it's right or wrong. Sometimes men can give other men the worst advice in the whole wide world.
Well, we just can't put it on the men, but there are a
I'm talking
lot
about what I have
with the
observed
relationship.
from
Yeah.
men, and it's the truth. When it comes to relationships, some of them can give the worst relationship advice
Because they done had a bad
a
experience.
bad
And
experience.
because they had a bad experience, they want you to have a bad experience too. So
Yes.
that's what's happened to a lot of folk. Because of the experience, and the experience that they have has went sour. So now they want you to be turned down the same road that they have been. Give them some good pointers about it. Look at
Yes.
something good at it and tell them, hey, look, this is the way it's supposed. This is what you, if your heart telling you go after that girl, go for it, bro.
Look, our friends usually mean well, and bad advice they're giving us, comes out of, like you said, misconception, how they perceive things, and sometimes it comes out of a malicious intent.
Yeah, they heard.
I had a friend who was going to advise me on getting some hardware and stuff like that, and the person actually knew that this particular item wasn't something that I would need and would be useful. But guess what they did? They said, go ahead, do it anyway, get it anyway. And down the road, they came back and they apologized for it, but they intentionally, maliciously decided to, give me that advice for some ungodly reason. And so sometimes people, friends, relatives, co-workers will intentionally steer you in the wrong direction.
Because that's envy, that's jealous. That's that, because they don't want to see you prosper. The old folks used to say back in the days of old, if you ain't got anything good to say about somebody, shut your mouth.
We say don't say anything.
Don't say anything at all.
all.
Because sometimes you don't know that you can take and hurt somebody's feeling by saying something negative about them, by giving them the wrong advice, and especially if they really take highly to you. There are some advices, some bad advice and some good advices.
Mhm.
It says one of the bad advices, it says keep your friends close and keep your enemy closer.
Now, why do people say that?
Keep your friends close and keep your enemy close, so you can see exactly what that enemy of yours is about to. But one of the good advice is know who your friends are.
Yes.
Keep them closer and keep your enemy and your frenemies as far away from you as possible. That's what they're saying. The bad saying, keep them close to you. Keep your enemy right there in your pocket. But the good advice is let them jokers go. Know them. Know exactly who, like the Bible says, know them that labor amongst you.
Yes, it says don't sweat the small stuff either. Think positive. Be positive. Just be yourself. and ignore the haters.
That's right. Ignore the hater. That's what the bad is saying. That's what the bad is
The
saying.
haters, now the haters come to you and they will actually try to plant seeds of discord. They
Right.
plant
Right.
seeds of all kind of things. We do the anti-bullying initiative, and you find people that bully use that tactic of investing bad things and bad advice and you're this and you're that, you're not that. They're in that person's ear telling them what they're not, trying to bring them down and trying to bring their morale
That's
down
right.
and just
That's right.
and so again, who's in your ear?
That's right.
Who are you listening to? And who has the power and control over the way you think?
You'd be
act?
surprised, Miss Cynthia, how many people that would think that they can sit upon your shoulder and tell you that how they would handle it and what they think is good. When I begin to look at this, it says that one of the bad advice says, think and be positive.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a bad advice. But here's the good part: said think realistically, knowing the facts, be neutral. Don't be negative or positive. Don't repress your emotions, accept them, learn how to be emotional and intelligent.
Emotionally intelligent.
Right.
That's right. Be yourself. Be authentic. Yes, there's a difference of being authentic. It goes beyond being yourself. It involves knowing ourselves, owning ourselves, and then asserting ourselves. We go back, again in the garden, knowing yourself. Don't you know who you are,
Don't you
Adam?
know Adam
Did
who
you
Eve
know?
is?
Don't you know who you are, Adam? Don't Eve? Don't you know who you are? You was birthed from God.
That's
You
right.
tell me that somebody can easily come and give you advice and steer you in the wrong direction. Look at mankind now. This is something that we have to deal with: the forces of good and evil, the nature of good and evil, because that's what we are. We're both good and we're both evil. I know people want to walk around thinking they all good, but that's not the facts. You're going to have to look in the mirror and see yourself for what it is. It's a nature. And through Adam and Eve, the fall of Adam and Eve, a nature that says you're both good and evil. I don't care how high you think you are. That's something that we have to deal with. But the advice we get, the good advice and the knowledge that we get and the God that we have in our lives helped us to be better. We get those assets to become better, so we can outweigh the good, can outweigh the bad. But I assure you, both of those things are in your ear. Both of those forces are there, and your nature calls for what you are, good and evil.
And you got to make the right choices, And one thing you got to remember: when the good and the evil, one is on one shoulder and the other is on the other shoulder, talking to one ear. That was another fellow another book in the Bible that you got to look at is that Moses was given instructions: go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And God said this: okay, I'm gonna be with you, but I'm gonna harden his heart. I'm going to make it difficult for you where you can make the right choices, and this was happening to a lot of us today. We got conversation after conversation, listen to other folks talk to you. And when you listen to other folks talk to you, you take in bits and pieces from what they had, just like your mother and your father. Your mother and father taught you, and when you got grown, you take in bits and pieces from what mom and them said, the good or the bad, and you incorporating that into your daily lives.
Yes, I tell you what, taking bad advice again will lead you down the wrong road.
That's right.
And there are many people that will invest in giving you all the wrong advice in the whole wide world. We've got to be careful. It says you have to, be knowledgeable, know who you are.
That's right.
Listen to sound teaching and listen to the word, listen to what God has to say about your life and who you are. Listen, find information when you're on your job about some of the things that you need to do, so co-workers won't come and haters won't come and steer you in the wrong direction. Right. Be careful of what you hear, who's in your ear, and what you take. Absolutely, what you're taking in, because it can really cause your life to be upside down.
That's right. And and the funny thing about it, Miss Hinton, when you start taking advice, know that person means well, but sometimes, but you don't have to do it. Here it is: says, stop taking bad advice from good people, from good friends.
Mm-hmm.
The worst type of advice my patient described involved dating. The most being that they should give guys another chance. Usually, this advice comes from after one of my folks have gone on one or two deals with someone who haven't have pretty badly. Stop taking advice from people that really don't that you think is good. Make your own decision. Make your own choices.
All right, now look, come over here for a few minutes. We're going to talk to you about some upcoming shows and more information about FYI Radio Show. Be blessed. Have a wonderful weekend and holiday.
Don't forget to tell them, Miss Hinton, about our sponsors.
Oh, Bulvic Academy. Go to bulvicacademy.com, BULVIC. Check us out, and also beardgods.com as well. Be blessed.
For the past 30 minutes, you've been listening to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. If you'd like to be a special guest sponsor or intern, all you have to do is pick up the telephone and give us a call at 757-714-7861. That's 757-714-7861. Or you can email us at FYIRadiosHowLive@gmail.com. Don't forget to have a wonderful and safe weekend. Make sure that on Tuesday when the children go back to school, that you be out there with them and making sure they do what is right. Okay? Have a great one. Bye.
All right, Miss Christy Pettyfield, how are you? Miss Christy Pettyfield says hello to the best morning show in the world. Thank you so much. Again, Sheila, all you that are on, that I see, that I don't see, I want to say good morning and thank you so much for joining us. Mr. E, this is really something that I think we may sound like we're just going over and over the same information, but it is good, wise information about who's in your ear. You know, like we said, our nature is going to call for those forces, good and evil. But through the word, we can learn how not to listen to the darkness, but listen to God and what's right to do. But also balancing what people tell us. Mr. E, do you get advice from people a lot?
You know, Ms. Hinton, a lot of people want to give you advice. They call it sound advice. Mm-hmm. They want to give you advice on something that they had experienced in before. Mm-hmm. And see, because they had experience, this is the thing that I look at. I remember this, that all experience is not the same. Mm. All situations are not the same. What happened in that situation for me, it may not be identical or the same situation for somebody else. So you really got to weigh it. And when you get people that's in your ear trying to give you information on this is what I'll do. Is this with me? I'll do this. You know, but they don't know the situation. They don't know what's going on. What they did in that situation was totally different than what's going on in that situation. Yes. Some situations are not the same. You know, you show me one situation that's identical, and then you can duplicate what they did. And make the choice. You take Moses, for example. You take Adam and Eve, for example. Adam was given the instructions to tell Eve not to eat from the tree. Yes. And Adam said, and you said it earlier, because of who they are that know each other. The Bible says this, and this is what we have to learn. Know them that labor amongst you. Know your enemy. Know that's got you. That's one of the do's and the don'ts. Know them folks that's around you. Then you be able to make a sound decision.
Now, Adam thought that Eve was the greatest thing in the world because they've been around each other.
Yeah.
But not knowing that she was being tricked by somebody to bring that trickery into this situation. You might be going through something today. You might be having a situation and somebody's trying to tell you how to get out of it. Your situation is not like this. They don't know you, but you got to seek ye. You got to seek the truth. You got to look at, you got to make a sound decision for yourself, because at the end of the day, the person that gave you the advice, they home sleeping and you catching the devil.
Now look at our scenario. The devil is speaking to Eve, giving her bad advice. Eve goes to Adam, gives him bad advice.
That's right.
Look at what happened to the world. Look at the curse.
That's right.
And so that's what I'm saying. You can whisper in people's ear, and then first of all, you have somebody with bad intentions, and then you're gonna put seed that person's mind, and then that person's gonna take it and seed that person's mind into believing and taking the wrong advice. Who's in your ear? What advice are you taking? Are you weighing the truth and a lie? Why didn't they look? Why wouldn't they measure what is true? Well, they felt like they had two truths.
That's right.
They had the word that says don't eat that. They had the instructions, but then this truth right here, well, the devil was telling part of the truth. Yeah, when you do this, when you eat the fruit, your eyes are going to be open. But one thing he said, that God ain't said that you, that's the lie. God did say.
Don't.
She took advice. She took that one little thing. Now he was giving her knowledge about the tree, which the tree was good and evil. He was telling her what will happen as a result.
Right.
It will make you wiser in the sense that you're going to know the dark side of life.
Right.
You're going to know the negative side of life. He was telling her the truth. But then he says, God ain't told you that you can't eat that now. So I'm just saying, watch who's in your ear, watch what people are telling you, and weighing the truth and going deeper, because sometimes that truth can be mixed up with lies.
You know, that's something that you really have to pay close attention to, because my granddaughter was in a situation, and in the situation was she got in a little accident, but she found out that she didn't have no insurance, and because she didn't have any insurance, the police told her, and she was out of town. The police told her, "Don't you drive that car, because if I see that car missing, I'm put an APB out on it."
Yeah.
So, you way up in Jersey and you saying, okay, what I'll do when the police turn his back, I'm gone.
Ooh. Oh my God. He gave her good advice. Well, she decided not to listen to good advice.
That's right. That's right.
So the consequences would have been,
if you had got your insurance right then and there, call your insurance company and reopen your insurance, then you could drive it. So, but you took the chance. You took the chance and drove that car. Now your car got an ABB on it. If they catch you driving around here in Virginia, that came from Jersey, you got to go back up there and stand before the traffic judge anyway. So if you ain't got insurance when you go back up there, guess what? You're going to have to pay a big fine, or you're going to jail.
Yeah, or you're going to jail. It can be disastrous.
Folks are not looking at the advice that we are taking and the consequences that comes with the advice.
Yes.
See, what may happen for you, your soil and your grass soil may be richer than my soil. I might have sand in my soil, and you might have top grade of soil. And I'm trying to grow some beautiful grass and fescue or whatever, and I'm putting the right chemistry in it. But what happens in your yard may not be happening in my yard. I might need to turn my dirt over, or get rid of the dirt that I got and put some new dirt in there.
Yes. But anyway,
listen to the advice. You know, you said something also, Miss Hinton. It says keep your enemy close and keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But the good thing, the best advice is to know this, that know your friends know who your friends are. Keep them close and keep your enemies and your frenemies are far away from you. Yes. Let them go on about their business. They're your enemies. And if you keep your enemies close to, they ain't gonna start havoc on you. They ain't gonna start trouble. But them, if you know they're your enemy, they don't mean you know get good. Walk away from them. Leave them alone.
It's the E. I'm telling you, it's amazing. But we'll talk about that more. I'm telling you, I hope that gets into your spirit. You know, what you listen to, who you listen to, why you're listening to them, and make sure, you know, nobody's guiding you. We talked about guiding.
That's right.
Or recommending you the wrong thing.
Well, and on that note, Miss Hinton, you know, we got voting coming around. Got voting coming around. Know who you want to choose. Know the right character. Know who. Pay close attention. Don't go on somebody else's advice. Don't go on somebody else's recommendation. Don't go on somebody else's guidance. If you know that the crook is a crook is a crook, a crook will be a crook, or he's going to be a crook because he's a crook. Why vote for a crook unless you are a crook? A crook will know that a crook is a crook when he looks at a crook. So when you look at a crook and know that a crook is a crook, why go with the crook? Go with somebody that's going to help you to come out of being crooked.
And this is the thing. You can sit up there and know right from wrong and see a crook.
That's right.
But then you have other forces, greater forces like the media and different ones in your ear saying, that's not a crook. He's not a crook. She's not a crook. You don't see a crook. They doing crooked things, but you don't really see. It's that same tactic of the enemy. God ain't told you that, girl. You know you better eat that fruit and get wise. It's that same thing.
That's
you know, and that's why, Mr. You talking about voting. That's why our democracy is so important, because we got people that want to pull down our democracy and our moral code.
Right.
But they're right there standing before us doing wrong. But there are people that saying, he ain't doing wrong. That ain't wrong. He ain't. It's the same cunning device.
That's right.
And so we really have to be careful. Miss Gloria Simmons, good morning. It's good to see you on with us. So, Mr. E, we'll be talking about that again.
We got to keep it going.
We got to keep that going.
Yeah.
In the meantime, don't forget to register to vote.
That's
Mr.
right.
E just talked about one of the upcoming shows, talking more about voting, talking about voting registration, talking about some of the tricks that are out there that's trying to get people not to, follow directions. You got people giving you advice to, no, don't do it over here because they're telling you to do it over here now, and it's a crooked move.
That's right.
So be careful of all that disenfranchisement that's out there and all the things that can cause you not to be able to carry yourself down the road of good, sound guidance, recommendation, and advice. Look,
before you go there, Ms. Hinton, here's the thing. There's an old saying, know them crooks. Watch this. Because know them that labor monkey. That's an old story that used to be out there. There was a man who had a crooked stick. He walked a crooked mile. And everything, he had a crooked cat and a crooked dog. Now, if you look at these crooks and you see everything that crook got is crooked. So, hey, when Eve was told don't, and she's got somebody telling her do, then you know that's a crooked mile.
It's a crooked mile. Look, serving that tea. We haven't served that tea for a minute. There's a lot going on. First of all, we got Miss Erykah Badu coming here in the Hampton Roads area.
Right. That's my
I
girl.
wish I could go. I love her music.
That's right.
So she's going to be here.
I am tired of your mess.
Tell Tyrone.
You better call.
That's right. You better
Tyrone.
call him. And everybody loves that. I think everybody knows that. It's just like an anthem. Women just love. They go crazy hearing that song.
And she says this, but you can't use
my phone.
That's right.
Bro. Also, look, Steve Harvey got a beef with Cat Williams. After this Club Shay Shay interview where Cat Williams was spilling all the beans in the whole wide world.
Cat Williams is the
and just saying all kind of stuff about all kind of folk. And some of those folks are saying, "Listen, little man," because I think they said, "See." They said they quoted Steve Harvey telling that little A man to back off, back up, and he don't have time for him. But we see these little rifts and these little beefs that come up, spring up. Sometimes, Mr. I do think it's publicity, but then sometimes it's from people that's talking just too much.
Well, this is what they said. They said that Cat Williams said this himself on his show. He said, "I come to everything that I hear. I come to talk to you about it. I come to tell it whether it's good or bad." Mm-hmm. This stuff that Steve and Cat got going on that says that, did Steve call Cat? Yes, he did call Cat. It said that Steve called Cat. You will never have a hater that's doing better than you. Wow. Always know that. Don't get off the wall to the address. So pity little boy, little boy who ain't got stuff going for himself. Steve said.
Well, Mr. E, would you advise Steve to maybe not say anything? Would that be good advice to say, Steve, don't go down that road with Cat Williams?
He's pulling you down.
He's pulling you into a mess. And then guess what? Social media is going to get in it, and they're going to take sides, and they're going to keep it going on and on and on until it dies out.
Well, see, here's a prime example. Last night we saw the interview
of
our Vice President Kamala Harris and her elect Vice President Governor Wolf. And they asked her the question, what she think about the word Trump saying that you're now trying to be black. She did not entertain it.
She didn't go down that road.
She didn't go down that road. Sometimes you don't have to go down that road because you got to know your haters and know them that label amongst you. Here's another thing, Miss Hinton, some tea. You got to take a big gulp.
Here we go, y'all.
You got to take a big gulp. Let me get one too. It says the federal government has granted the Isaac Hayes estate as an emergency in their $3 million damage demand against Donald Trump, who has continually used "Hold On, I'm Coming," a co-writer by Hayes on the campaign trail. Early this month, the Hayes estate filed a cease and desist and asked for $3 million related to Trump unauthorization use of the Sam and Dave for $3 million for Sam and Dave clashes, which by state lawyers counted has been played over 100 times.
Who's giving what you call
at
it
a
advice?
Trump rally since 2022.
Who is giving this former president advice? Because I'm telling you, just like he went into Arlington Cemetery and they said you can't campaign, you can't take pictures here, and they're gonna push one of the people that work there and do it anyway. Who's giving you advice? The devil must be in your ear. You can't do nothing right.
He's a crooked. He's a crook.
It's just
you got to know the crook. The crook will always come at you in it and talk to you sideways.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to talk more about that tea in some of our upcoming shows, of course. Also, don't forget to join us on Monday for Sports Talk.
And don't forget, when you come on Sports Talk, wear your favorite team. Like I got the Cowboys on, and come Monday, I'd like to see your team appear on our platform to let everybody know I'm a Cowboy fan, I'm a Raider fan, I'm a whatever fan you are, wear your team.
We got a little bit more time for summer fun. I'm getting ready to enjoy the weekend, have some summer fun, and because it's slowly going into the fall. Look, today is the 30th of August. I want to wish my niece Kim Williams a happy birthday, and I'm telling you, we got to take and enjoy this summer while it's here. That's right. After a while, we're going to break into another season, which is another beautiful season, of course. Also, what's under the hat? what's in your closet. Definitely immigration.
That's right.
Definitely political voting,
yeah.
and registering to vote. We're going to be pushing that. We're going to have just some wonderful guests.
That's right.
And just a wonderful time. If you have any suggestions, any topics, anybody that you think should be here, Miss E's going to give you that information in a minute. Make sure you follow us on social media. And don't forget to visit our sponsors, Bulvick Academy and BeItGods.com. Mr. E's going to tell you how you can be a special guest sponsor or intern with FYI Radio Show.
If you'd like to be a special guest sponsor or intern of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, all you have to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861, or you can inbox us at whatever's Facebook page, FYI Facebook page, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton's Facebook page, and let us know, hey, I'd like to be, or you can email us at FYIRadiosHowLive@gmail.com. And here's another twist. If you'd like to be in our audience, send us your email and we'll email you back to let you know what date and what time we want you in our audience.
Yes.
So all our listening audience can see our friends, okay? That's FYIRadiosHowLive@gmail.com.
God bless you all. We want you to have a wonderful weekend and have a wonderful Labor Day as well.
That's right. 2 up, 2 down, VA.